Howdy YouTube family, it's Bolt CRNA coming to you again with another day's topic. So today we're going to talk about your assumptions about me. So on Instagram, I sent you guys out a message request a while back asking you to tell me in that little questions box what your assumptions about me would be. And it'd just be interesting to respond to some of that and just see what maybe that energy I'm putting out there to see if maybe you're correct on some of the things you assume or maybe not correct. So let's get into it. The first one says here, you played with Legos as a kid. That is incorrect. I assume that you're making that connection because you figure I'm nerdy, or maybe I'm like have an engineering mathematic mind that likes to build and construct things, like typical Legos type kids. I was not a Legos kid. My brother did build like the Millennium Falcon models and different spaceships and starships from Star Wars. He built them like models, and I helped him do that a little bit. But that was actually never a huge interest of mine. I never liked Legos. I never liked putting together little pieces like that, like the little Lincoln logs and stuff. Remember back in like the 80s and 90s, they had those little logs that you pieced together and you could build like a cabin or something. They were like little wood blocks. I just never liked that kind of stuff. I was never one to want to build things like that. Another one says, you love teaching people. You know what? I never considered myself a teacher. I never considered myself one who would want to teach people. And I still don't really consider myself a teacher. I consider myself a communicator. I like to talk and I like to interact with people. I like to be social. I like to share knowledge, but not necessarily teach in the classic sense of teaching. I don't mind clinically teaching and things like that, but I don't really see myself standing up in a classroom and being a professor or anything like that. That may change. I'm 32 right now, so maybe in my late 40s, 50s, I may choose to go back and do be a teacher, be a professor. I do have my doctorate, so that does enable me to be a professor one day if I want to do that. And so, yeah, I mean, it's nice to know I have that option, and maybe I may change my mind, and I may spin this into more of a formal academic setting. If you consider this teaching, then sure, I like this. But I would consider this more of a speaker / communicator who shares ideas and thoughts. Long story short, you guys keep asking me to like do pharmacology videos and in-depth anesthesia topic videos, and I'm just telling you, I think it's boring. I had to learn it all myself, and it can be quite boring. And so no, I don't know that I'd be that great of a teacher, because I find the idea of going back into the books and getting all the facts and the research and everything ready for you guys to make a video very tedious. And so I don't know that I would be a very good teacher if I don't even like doing that for you guys now. Another assumption about me, which is not so much about me but my life situation, is it says you pay too much taxes. Yes, you are exactly correct. I did a video, or no, it was an Instagram post a while back about how much taxes were getting taken out of my paycheck. I actually did a little snapshot of not my entire pay stub, but just the tax portion of it. And I think it shocked a lot of people. It shocked myself, you know. It shocked me when I first got my paycheck as a CRNA for my first job, and I realized how astronomically high the taxes are as a CRNA. I would have never assumed that I would be paying in taxes alone what my entire salary as a nurse was. Another one says, you're low-key in a long-term relationship, LOL. No, not really. I'm very high-key and not in a relationship. I've dated a couple girls, and I have had relationships, in the past, but currently right now I am not in a relationship. Happy to be alive. Yes, that's a very good assumption. I appreciate that I'm putting out that energy that you guys, that your assumptions about me are polite, nice things, that I'm happy to be alive. I'm very grateful that I'm not getting nasty, ugly stuff that a lot of other YouTubers seem to get when they ask for assumptions about them. Given your professional achievements, you do not enjoy a good time, in parentheses, partying. Probably an appropriate assumption, yeah. I am not somebody who's partied very much ever in my life. I don't really like to party. I mean, That's not a true statement. I like parties. I like, New Year's Eve events, and I like to go to things and stuff like that. I like to have fun with friends, but is that something that I invest a lot of my time and energy into? No. Is that something I've ever invested much time or energy into? Never. Even when I was 15, 16, I knew I was going to go get my doctorate one day. I knew I was, just in high school long enough to get out of high school so I could go to college and be in the real world. When I got into college, in the dorms, I was the one studying or going to work and saving up money or being on call for the ER so that I could earn extra money on the weekends. And I was always telling people I can't go out, I can't go anywhere, I can't drink because I'm on call. I was the 21-year-old who refused to drink except once or twice a year because I was busy studying and going to clinical and focusing on my career and my education and my future. I was definitely not interested in any person derailing me or any substance abuse problem or partying habit or anything like that to get in my way. I can't tell you how many messages I get from people, young people, or sometimes older people who tell me like, hey, I would love to be in your position. I'd love to go to CRNA school, but I've got 2 kids that I had at a young age and I made this mistake there, or I had this problem with this here. I'm stuck at this dead-end job and I can't seem to get out of it. And I knew when I was very young that was not what I wanted. And I knew that I was going to do whatever I had to do in life to make sure it didn't happen. So that's my soapbox. I do like to go to parties. I do not like to party, if that makes sense. I've never tried any drug ever. The strongest thing I've ever done was probably Benadryl. Next one is that I'm overpaying the expensive cost of living in Silicon Valley. So this Instagram follower, actually, they've been seeing me go through, and I'm currently moving to Silicon Valley, and I'm looking at apartments, and I'm looking at all this stuff over there, and it's crazy expensive, insanely expensive over there. Probably the most ridiculously expensive place in the United States, probably the world. And yes, you are correct in the assumption that I'm already over it, even though I'm just getting started with it. I'm over it. All right, this guy is kind of scattered. He says, you're laid back, true. Doesn't like to stay in one place, probably true. And probably likes Mass Effect, also true. 3 very different things, and you're completely correct on all elements. So I appreciate that. Your intuition is on the spot, man. Who doesn't like Mass Effect? It's one of the best video games ever created. If you have not played Mass Effect, what are you doing? Next assumption says that you're ultra conservative. I would not say ultra conservative. I am conservative. It depends on what part of the country you're in. Now that I'm currently in the Bay Area, I would say that I am conservative for the average person over here. If I went back home to the Southeast where I grew up, I would say that I'm fairly moderate to liberal for their standards. If you group the whole nation together and lined everybody up, I would probably fall in the moderate range. But like I said, depending on what region of the country you're living in, you would be considered ultra liberal, ultra conservative, whatever, depending on that region you're living in. The next one's really nice. They say that you'd be a great dad. And I've had a couple people tell me that before, and I'd like to think that's true, but I don't know that it's actually true in practice. I think that I would be an okay dad. And I think that my kids would grow up to be good people in the community who would, perform and do things in the community that they wanted to do and maybe feel fulfilled in life. But I would probably put a lot of external expectations on them. And I introspectively know that I do that with my own self, and I do that to other people who are close to me. That I kind of put these ambitious expectations on a lot of people close to me and expect them to do these things and want these things and perform this certain way and, be the best of the best of the best. And sometimes that's not okay. Sometimes that turns people off. And I've had previous, girlfriends and stuff tell me before, like, hey, like maybe I just want to do this thing here and maybe I don't want to do all these next levels of it, But that's just not the way I work, and I think I might project that onto my kids. So kids in the future, if you're watching this, I probably know that I'm going to make you play the piano and also get your doctorate and also do everything else. So I'm sorry, that's just who I am. I'll try to be better. This next one is weird. They say you put milk before cereal. I'm assuming that you're inferring I'm a serial killer. because that would mean I was a serial killer. Who would ever put milk before the cereal? That's crazy. Physics alone makes it crazy. They say fine AF. Thank you. I'll take it. Okay, that's enough assumptions for today. I think you got a little introspective view of kind of who I am as a person and maybe what other people think of me. I was surprised that nobody said anything mean, really. Nobody said anything, that was a little rude, which is strange for the internet. Maybe it's because my inner circle of people who follow me is still small enough that you guys are nice and like me, and I haven't got a whole bunch of other trolls on board yet. But I like it. I like that you guys think these positive things about me. So if you have assumptions about me too, you can leave them down below. If they're rude, go ahead and leave them somewhere else, because I don't want them. And make sure and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this video with your friends, anybody who likes anesthesia or medical stuff and whatever else, just like somebody rambling at a camera, that's me. So make sure and share, and that's Bolt out.